Mark, you ready?
You're ready.
All right, we're gonna call the Board of Parks and Recreation regular meeting for 9/19/23 to order. We have 3 people here, 3 members, so we have a quorum. The next item is public input. Kevin doesn't have anything to say? No. No comment from the clerk treasurer?
No,
All right,
happy to be here.
glad to see the students here. You'll enjoy this meeting. This should be quick. The next item is administrative matters approval of the minutes.
I reviewed the minutes, saw nothing wrong, saw a motion to approve.
I second that motion.
Motion been approved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 3-0. Next item are the claims of the vouchers. We have 2 sets of them. Anybody see anything problematic? I reviewed them. I didn't have a problem.
Also reviewed and I did not see anything that was a surprise. So I would like a motion to approve vouchers 23-9A.
Been approved and
I second that.
seconded to approve vouchers 23/9A and 23/9B. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. We'll move on to the Parks and Recreation Department report. Mark, you got it, because I don't see anybody else. wants to
It's
do
all
it.
me here.
Okay.
Kevin will add if he needs, but, we submitted a report. I'll give you some highlights from that, and answer any questions you might have. We met with representatives from the developer out of Community Estates Park. There's a punch list of final requirements the town seeking the developer to complete. Hopefully that will be done still this year, and then it'll kind of be all in our hands for next year. It is a site that we've begun to mow though, because it is officially in our name, so we're out there every couple of weeks doing that, kind of keeping the grass to a decent. 2024 GO bond issue, we had a request within the last month come through from the town manager's office, so we've submitted a list of items for inclusion in that. That list is attached to this as part of the same report. It includes all the items that were identified in our repair and replacement schedules, including vehicles and equipment. Altogether, the request is just under $2 million. There is available funding from bond balances that will also be used to help fully fund this request. So I believe that was on the town council's agenda last night, and they passed that. So we'll be able to achieve all those things that were submitted. The monitoring at the clubhouse, we installed vibration monitoring units on the top floor and 2 in the basement there, just during the we were concerned during the time when pilings are driven for the new golf buildings. We wanted to make sure to be extra cautious out there. They definitely work. They dropped a table in the hallway today and one went off and they called me and we were panicking and thinking, oh my goodness, what happened? But that's what it was. We recreated it by dropping a table again. So that's why we had that confirmation, but we have that extra caution just in case to monitor everything. They are, I'll give you a little bit of I'll give you a full update on the building coming up, but they will be hopefully driving pilings here late this week or next week for the new building. So, as far as on the recreation side, Cash for Clutter was held September 9th. We had 104 vendors. We sold out all of our spaces in the pool parking lot. Park in the Park had over 20 vendors on site on September 16th, a week later. Fall soccer has begun. We have over 500 participants in the fall soccer program, which is actually up from this past spring by 40 people. On the maintenance side of things, we have a new furnace and air conditioner over at the Cassidy House at Heritage Park. We had delivery of picnic tables to Eat School for their back to school party, then to the high school for the band backers and booster club events. Also throw in there the Pause in the Park event at community. So we were moving a lot of picnic tables around here recently. The pool was closed and winterized. We had Slide Right come out, sand and gel coat the slides. That's been completed. There were 3 butterfly benches that were brought in, that were bought by the Rotary Club, that were put together by our staff, and they are out at the Cassidy House they were there in time for the Monarch Fest that was a couple weekends ago. we had a walkthrough for MS4, which is the separation of municipal separate storm sewer system, making sure that there are not opportunities for or reducing or eliminating the opportunity for things to get into our stormwater system. We've bought a number of flammable liquid storage containers for typically gas cans for the Babe Ruth softball and Babe Ruth garages at Community Park, which they previously were just sitting on the ground in those. So that was a purchase that we've made here recently to meet with some of the MS4 compliance. The out at Centennial, we had some irrigation repairs made, including moving one line where they have installed a concrete pad, which will be on the stage side of the north parking lot for a second meter in that parking lot, which will be coming here soon. We removed some tree plaques, memorial tree plaques in the area where the golf construction is now going on. We had dug out all the storm drains in the south parking lot, which we determined and have figured out that they are all French drains. So we sucked them, dug them all out by hand, and they put in new riprap, and the parking lot is definitely draining better, but they do not connect to any pipe. In fact, the frame of the storm of the drain is sitting just on asphalt. There's nothing on those drains in that lot. So interesting, and why we probably have held water there. It's meant to be the asphalt there is meant to be permeable. Been probably 20 years of.
But you have to maintain permeable pavement, otherwise it doesn't.
Yes, of unmaintained asphalt, so unfortunately. Out of the golf, fall season's arrived, things are starting to slow down. Rain this year has been either all in or none. Seemingly, we've been going through these, almost droughts to almost flood type of conditions at times. August numbers are there for you, just some comparables from last year to this year. The tees and fairways will be aerated on the golf course in the next 2 weeks. And I want to say that's it for board report, unless you have any questions. If there's anything on there that I missed.
Anyone have any questions?
I had a couple of columns that I'm looking to find out. No, I made notes in here and I can't remember, but regarding the bond issue, I thank you for including on the last page the part. And I don't seem to have my notes, but you have.
It's better than looking sideways.
Thank you. You have Beach, Briar Creek, Burlwood, Centennial, Cobblestone, and Community Park. I looked at compared it to the replacement schedule, and there was a few things that looked different. So did you look at the repair replacement schedule?
We did. Yeah.
Maybe I'll send you another email, because I just wanted to make sure that, I think it was Beach Park, because we only have 15,000 for tennis court surfacing and basketball court. I want to say it was Beach, that there was some playground equipment that was due, or no?
That's not right.
There was what? New?
Yeah, it was due to be replaced.
That's pretty new, isn't it?
It's.
We can
There's
double
other-
check it.
If you wouldn't mind, just because I didn't, I came from work, so I didn't, I mean, but I wrote good notes.
Sure they were. Not here.
Not here. Yes, we just want to verify, it was Beach Park, and then was, I know Community Park is good, and then the Centennial Park one is allotted for.
Probably Frank Hammond resurfacing is what you were thinking about.
That's not what I was,
No, it's for me, what I was thinking, but go ahead.
not what I was thinking. But not that Frank is not
I
important, they're all important. But yeah, I think it was Beach Park was the one that was questioned.
Yeah, I'll look into it. We'll double check it and make sure. This is, for the most part, I think we included everything that was on there. I know that I did go through earlier in the summer just to look at things and see how are they progressing. Is there anything that could potentially wait, because we knew that there was some projects in there that were kind of jumping forward a little bit and becoming a little bit more higher need at this point. So
Thank you. And then the Centennial Park, the landfill generator, I know I mentioned this before, we used to have, some monthly numbers as far as like what is produced. We haven't seen those in a while. Is it that there's no numbers? Is that why this is on a replacement?
They're in here, they're in the board report, it's on the third page there, the Jen Bacher engine.
Oh, you're right, there it is.
You got the run numbers, but I'm glad you brought that up because you see that we're at sixty
Oh, the run
thousand
hours,
hours.
yeah, yeah.
That was 60,000 hours is the one. We did just have a meeting in the last few weeks with Baker Tilly, which is the town hired them as a financial advisor to come and do some research in regards to some IRA. It's not a grant, it is
IIJ tax credit.
tax credit, thank you,
Right.
Wendy. Potentially to shrink that engine. And I think I mentioned this before. It's a V20 engine that we have out there. Way oversized for what we're pulling in. It's to the point where it has to turn off every few days. The longest we get out of it is about a 2-week span where it runs solid, pulling in that methane, but it pulls in so much, it needs to, rebuild up the methane and before we can continue to run. A smaller engine would be able to let it consistently run.
Okay,
But they're putting together figures about potentially using that as a replacement and some of that funding through that tax credit to help us do that. So we're hoping and our fingers are crossed that that's where we go with it.
well, because we have problems with maintenance, right? To that.
Yes, yeah, there are issues with it for sure. I mean, unfortunately, some of them there's not much we can do about it. Like we just replaced a water pump on it and a year later, the same water pump or a brand new water pump goes out again. And
Yeah.
so there are definitely some benefits too, if we can do it. They're actually even looking at the potential for using the heat that generates from the engine to heat the building right there, the maintenance building, fire and maintenance building. So there's some tricks of the financing aspect of it that they're definitely looking into, and hopefully they're gonna have us a report here within the next month or so. Anything else?
Oh, I thought you were.
I was looking too, because I had compared them and I thought the Frank Hammond one is that.
No, I know that they're looking at it. I know they're looking at a rebuild or resurfacing. So,
I know it's not the playground. because we just-
no, not the playground, the track.
Track.
It was,
Track.
it might be the track. Yeah. Yeah,
I
it might
walk
be the
around it
track.
so many
Yeah,
times.
I noted that on mine about the track.
I know you were looking at resurfacing or
I may have pushed that off a year because I don't think it's super bad. It's getting there. But I think that these other things are
More
rating higher than
Sure.
that is right now. It also will be, it'll be substantial, that track. I mean, re-asphalting that quarter mile, right? I mean, easy, right around it a little bit with the ends on the south side for the 100-meter dash type of stuff. But I think that might have been the case, but.
those projects will come in next year.
This will be a bond that we won't have the money likely until December,
Okay.
When they close on the bond, and then the clerk's office will tell us when, yes, the money's on hand, you can start moving forward with these projects, so then you'll see typically. Some years we've had a December meeting where we've already brought proposals to you, especially for equipment to get things ordered right away, which we know are gonna take time, but otherwise then we start working on that throughout the year. The winter months is our best time to work on a lot of those because we're not having to deal with as much stuff outside, maintenance wise.
All right. Great. That's it. You're good. Next item is items for discussion. Number A, professional service agreement. For what did I say? Number A, or letter A, lowercase a, professional service agreement, Parks and Recreation, master plan. Mark.
Yes, and Matt Reardon is here from HWC Engineering, if there's any other questions or anything for him that you have, but following direction at the last meeting, we met with HWC and defined the scope of the 5-year Parks and Recreation Master Plan. The services, scope, schedule, compensation are described in more detail in the agreement that we've now put together, mainly in the 4 appendices of that agreement. The formed agreement was reviewed and edited based upon input from Attorney Wicklund. As I said, Matt is here to answer any other questions if there are any, but otherwise the staff's recommending approval of the professional services agreement with HWC Engineering and to authorize me to sign it if you so choose.
So for the crowd, this is, allows us to look at 5 years into the future, see what we'd like to do, what we'd like to replace. If we want to add more pickleball or reduce our pickleball courts and stuff like that. So you'll get an opportunity through public meetings to voice your opinion, especially in the neighborhood that you live in. So with that, anyone have any questions?
I did not have any.
There you go.
All right.
I did not have any additional questions either about the agreement.
Who wants to?
I motion to approve the, sorry,
There you go. I got it for you.
thanks.
Mhm. Letter A.
The professional services agreement with HWC Engineering to complete the 5-year Parks and Recreation Master Plan for town. And authorize the director to sign it on our behalf.
I second that motion.
The motion has been seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, ayes have it. Ed, you were dismissed. Unless you want to hear about the whole season report.
Mr. Chairman, I was here to lobby for, or I'm sorry, I was here to filibuster for an hour and a half because the teachers of the students asked me to cover in detail Indiana code.
Well, I have one.
36, 10, 3, 4.
I have
Talk
one
about all
member
the duties
of
of
a
the park.
soccer player that needs to go to senior night, and I'm sure they will.
Oh, well,
go
then,
home.
you know what? That's,
All right,
thank you.
and we're good.
Yeah, we're good.
We'll move on to the full season report.
All right, I'm gonna give you.
We got a handout, I saw.
Your report that on Jill's behalf, because unfortunately she had an emergency and couldn't make the meeting this evening. Pool was 11 weeks long this year. We had 63 employees, of which 3 managers, 33 lifeguards, 27 attendants. There was 8 sponsors, which was down 1 from the year prior. We had 16,646 total guests, which is down 504 from last year. We had 17,150 the year before. The financial summary there, total revenue, we brought in $232,279 and change. This was decreased from the year prior by about $22,000. And our expenses added up this year to $227,000 and change. So we had a variance of just around $4,500 that in our operations for this particular season. Our expenses were just about $1,000 off from last year. We just had a little bit more, our revenues decreasing this year for our overall variance that we had. Additionally, just to point out, we did have 2 other capital improvements that are not shared within those numbers. The slide repair that we already did here after the season is closed, and our sound system, which we encumbered, but still waiting for them to come and do that work by Tri-Electronics. So some other information to be aware of. Our rescue reports were down from the year before, which is always a good sign. We kind of attributed a lot of that. We changed the height requirements on our slides from 42 to 48 inches. That I think definitely helped us a lot more. We implemented a wristband protocol for when we saved individuals multiple times off of the slides. So we kind of identify them and kind of keep an extra eye out, and then be able to talk to the adult that's with them on site to encourage them to stay within certain areas of the pool. Police were called 3 times to the season compared to 4 of the prior year. We had 5 accident reports, which was the same as the year prior. We had a number of groups and birthday and private parties at the pool this year. The 838 season passes were purchased. This was an increase by 114 over 2022. We had 3 different season pass membership nights. Those were not well attended. We only had about 30 people per night. So I think we're going to be looking at that, changing that here in the future. At the beginning of July, lifeguards started making it a little bit difficult by switching shifts or just not showing up once kind of 4th of July hits, and that it progressively got hurt us later in the year, as you know. But we got through the season to the first week in August, and we're able to get to that point. So the question was asked, and we had some comments at the last meeting about what if we kept the pool open to Labor Day on the weekend. So we put together a list of some pros and cons here. Obviously the pros, guests are going to be happy to be able to have some more opportunity to swim on the weekends until Labor Day. There is an opportunity to have some late season private parties or birthday parties, or maybe even other groups. The opportunity for some 3-week Saturday swim lessons might be possible. However, one of those weekends would be on Labor Day, so that might be seen as not a highly desirable day for swim lessons. On the con side of it, it's really difficult with our staffing challenges. I know we've mentioned this before. A lot of high school students and college students go back to school or go back to the extracurriculars that they're in. The opportunity to make capital improvements with warmer weather would be limited if we have the need to do that. Significant increase, based upon our estimates, we're estimating to keep NIPSCO water and chemicals for an additional 4 weekends. It would cost about $26,500. I don't have typed into the table there, but our staff ad for 7 more dates, we estimate at between $13,000 to $15,000 for that. So we're looking at around $40,000 extra to keep it open on the weekends. Definitely would have a challenge about two of our managers. One goes back to college, one is a teacher. So once the school year hits, that it may be difficult holding on to them. However, one of the thoughts we had as we discussed this in the office was the opportunity, and I know I've seen it at even stores like a Menards. You see it on the bottom of the receipt. Their employees, they'll pay them $3 more to work weekends. Maybe by the time we go back, maybe that's a consideration that we increase the rate of pay to find that friction point to say, yeah, I'm going to skip going to watch the volleyball game on Saturday morning and I'll go work at the pool. So there might be an opportunity like that. We ran some numbers today, and I mean, if we raised everyone $3 more an hour, it would basically cost us an extra between 33,000 to 38,000 between either $3 or $5 more per hour options we ran. So if we wanted to kind of pay a premium pay in the month of August, that would be the additional fees that we would be having to cover. Just so you're aware, our staffing costs at the pool, it's approximately $1,500 per day that the pool is open, based upon all the, an 8-hour day of the pool. Well, it's 7 hours for operations plus being there a little bit early and being there a little bit after the season. Next year, we did check the school schedule already. They will start school, their first day is on Monday. It's August 12th. So we will be planning to keep the pool open at least until August 11th. Otherwise, typically we will bring to you either in October or November a recommendation on operations for next year, because we will want to get that approved by you so we can put that into the winter spring book, which goes home in December. So we want to be able to have that advertised and defined what dates that the season would be open.
All right.
But with that, that's our full report.
We have a plan. I think there was a plan to check as far as like lifeguard certification in town, and checked all that. And
We
on
gave,
pace.
myself, Mr. Nolan did respond and gave us some ideas about what we could do. I passed all the information along to Jill. So she'll be looking into it. I did have a quick question. Based upon the few people that came to the last meeting that noted about keeping the pool open longer, do you think, I mean, I'm asking you a question you may not have the answer to tonight, so I'm prefacing that maybe this will be an answer you come to when you do your proposal to us, is if we do keep the pool open longer, do you think that will increase the desire to have a pool pass? Like we might see an increase in pool passes? Because I'm wondering if, like those ladies mentioned that a lot of people they knew weren't going to buy a pool pass because now it's such a short season. If we had a few more weekends, it would make it more attractive. I don't know the answer to that, and I don't know that we would actually know the answer to that, but
It's hard to say. I can see it both ways.
Me
Where, because and honestly, if we are opening longer, do we appropriately raise those pool pass fees?
right.
That, I mean, when we talk about adding that much more expenses, we probably should
We have to
divvy
adjust
some of that out to adjust it for
Right.
that. So, yeah, but we'll look at that and see. I think that's a challenge. An outdoor facility is definitely a roll of the dice too, because weather is definitely a factor here. I mean, this year, Labor Day weekend, super hot, would have been great. The weekend before that, cold, we would have been closed, we wouldn't even open, I don't even think it hit 70 degrees, so how odd, in August that happened that way. But,
Do you know, when is the last time our pool was open actually to Labor Day weekend? Was it pre-COVID? It was like
it's pretty close. I think
2019,
it's 19.
2018 or 2019? Okay.
Yeah.
It would be nice to know that information in comparison to where it's at now.
Mhm.
So we're actually comparing a little bit of apples and apples. Do you know what I mean?
As far as,
Like
Revenues and
keeping,
so forth?
right, keeping it open to that time period.
okay,
Just so that I feel like we could justify then to our residents why we made this decision to close at the same time as schools opening or by, whatever our
Yeah.
final decision is.
yeah, I don't,
And we looked at all of our,
I'll have to
we
check
made all
with-
efforts.
the clerk's office has changed their accounting software, so hopefully they still have some of those old numbers for us and they can.
If not, I'm sure
Um,
quite past
But,
minutes. it would be-
and, yeah, and we may actually be able to pull old end of year reports like this too, so. One of the big changes though, that we made was rates of pay
Yeah.
drastically through COVID. We jumped those
Increased.
substantially in the last few years. And again, that's one that if the idea of a premium pay is something that you guys think, hey, it might be worth a shot, we typically do our salary ordinance with those ranges. That might be one that we even put it in there to give us the flexibility, because you guys approve that at this level, and then that gets attached to the town's salary ordinance. Which, we need the council's level of approval of that too, so that might be something we need to bring to you. I'll have to find out what the schedule of anticipation is, that could come to you as soon as next month, potentially, so just so you're aware of that. There's times where that range is there and we don't use it, but at least it's a tool in the toolbox, if you will.
Pool covered?
Mhm.
Pool, you good? All right. Last item on the agenda, golf course building construction update. You alluded to it before about dropping tables, so.
Yes. Construction's continuing on site. The construction area was enclosed with temporary fencing. Fencing was also placed at the top of the pathway from the stairs coming towards the driving range, so walkers coming up cannot go through anymore. So unfortunately, there may be some folks upset about that. It's a pain of construction and just a safety concern that we don't want to have people cutting through the driving range through the grass area any longer. Since the path is gone. The majority of landscaping demo has been completed, retaining wall bricks have been removed and stored for reuse. The signage was installed directing golfers, temporary signage to how to get into the park because they're going into the pathway that's over near the dog park gate at the southeast corner of the parking lot. And that's also the way for driving range users, which may hurt us because it's a little bit of a walk if they're just walking all the way out to the driving range, but. A temporary pathway was also cut through some of the landscaping to allow carts to get to the driving range. We had put in a stone pathway. It was too close to a drop off for our liking, so we cut a better path on that's better for the carts to get through when it's dry, because it's kind of a swale area. Staff is meeting every other week with the contractor and architect for progress meetings. I mentioned about the vibration monitoring that Advanced Engineering Services is doing for us as a consultant. Earth excavation has begun in the area of the new buildings. Asphalt pathways near the driving range, near the golf shanty building have been removed. Fencing's been removed next to the golf shanty. Light pole was removed and reused and stored for reuse. The light pole base was excavated and removed. Temporary power was run to the construction job trailer site for Hassie. The submittals for verification from the architect or the owner's rep have begun to be submitted for review. There will be a change order coming as the fire department is requiring us to install a fire hydrant closer to the new building. So that's something that wasn't, but we don't have the dollar amount. We're waiting for Hassie to submit that to us, but it's been identified. Hassie will be installing a coming soon construction sign near the bottom of the fitness stairs facing Calumet Avenue, just so you're aware of that. Last Thursday, the excavation beneath the cart storage building came across a pipeline that was not on any maps. So unfortunately, we had a full couple of days that was a challenge that we dealt with it, but this turns out okay. So after discussion with Cabino Environmental, Andrews Engineering, who are our consultants on the landfill itself, they suggested our next steps. We, with help from the water department, we videotaped the 8-inch line and determined that we could cut it off and cap it at either end outside the footprint of the new building. So this is up at the cart storage building up on the driving range. There was a 8-inch pipe running through. We,
What was it? Water?
it was a methane collection line.
Interesting.
So, but when they initially hit it, there was no noise or anything from it, which was odd. We thought it maybe was a vacated line. The next day, it finally started to hiss a little bit, and we said, okay, it is pulling through, it's part of the methane collection line. Fortunately, that's a whole loop system out there, so Covino told us that if we cut it on both ends, we're okay, cut it and cap it, it's not a pressurized line. The worry was, and we put the reason was the cameras down both, was there any T's tying into it? There weren't, so that was a plus. So they've been cut and capped. Kevin did that this week with our staff, and if we need to reconnect them, they'll be outside the building footprint. We can always go back and reconnect it later when Covino is out on site, but at least it doesn't slow down construction any further out there, so. And the first two, what they're calling test pilings, are expected to be installed later this week if everything goes well and weather doesn't delay them. The rest will be installed about a week after that, after they do some initial testing on those first two that they put in, one on each building site. But that's it for the building update.
Anything? Anything at all?
I just want to ask one quick question about the parking meters. Did you guys mention at a previous meeting that, we give tickets out on weekends of like homecoming prom?
Tickets always go out.
So homecoming is coming up September 30th. It might be in our best interest to post something on Facebook to remind parents, no?
I mean,
Don't read.
you could, but
I don't know.
there's big signs out there that say paid
know
parking
there
and
are.
people say I didn't see it, so.
But for picture,
My son didn't see it evidently, because I got a ticket in the mail, so.
but maybe,
Maybe we could reach out to the school and ask them to share something.
yeah, to know.
Announce it somehow that way. A lot of our residents should be safe. I think a lot of them are now finally registered. Challenges schools from around us that are coming and
Taking pictures, and then they challenge you. Got it. So build this in your own community and you'll be
Yeah.
fine.
Yes.
That's what I might suggestion to them if I ever answer the phone. Okay. No comment. Any comments?
No.
Next meeting is scheduled for October 17th, Tuesday at 5 o'clock here. Motion to adjourn, anybody?
Motion to adjourn.
Second, anybody?
Second.
You only have one option. All those in favor? Aye,
Aye.
aye, opposed? We're done.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. And if anyone wants a packet of nice printed out information, I'll give you mine.
Okay, so can I ask you guys a question then? We